Hello everyone, and welcome back to CM50, the video edition. In this video, we'll be taking a look at Unit 13 of CM50, which covers telling time and measuring time. First, let's focus on telling time. For that, we need some vocabulary, which is from page 21, Unit 13.1. Let's go through them. Early morning, 凌晨 morning, 早上 late morning, 上午 noon, 中午 afternoon, 下午 evening, 晚上 o'clock, 点钟 or 点 quarter, 刻 half, 半 minute, 分. Now let's see how we used some of these phrases using the time 3 o'clock. One way to say this is 3点钟. So real straightforward, 3点钟. We could also say 3点. Now something to note here is that 点钟 is only for time on the hour. So 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and so forth. If it's something like 3:15 or 3:45, we cannot use 点钟. So 点钟 is only for time on the hour. Now what does 点钟 actually mean? Well, let's break it down. 点 means point, as in this kind of point. Now if we add 11 more of these points, we see a familiar shape starting to take form. And what is that shape? It is the shape of a clock, and that's what 钟 means. So 点钟 means point on the clock. Now in Old English, we used to say of the clock. That got abbreviated to o'clock. So 点钟 just means o'clock. So when we say 3点钟, we mean 3 o'clock, as in 3 points on the clock. That is, of course, using 12 as the starting point. Counting from 12, 3 points. 3点钟. We can also say 3点, and it means the same thing. So 2 ways to say 3 o'clock. 3点钟 or 3点. However, there are also 2 3 o'clocks in a given day. So what if we want to specify 3 a.m. or 3 p.m.? Well, 3 a.m. is 凌晨3点钟. 3 p.m. would be 下午3点钟. We can also say 凌晨3点 or 下午3点. So let's go back to that vocabulary. Early morning is 凌晨, and then we have some other sections of time here. So what times do these refer to? Early morning, 凌晨, is from 12 midnight to 6 a.m. 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. Morning, 早上, is from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Late morning, 上午, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. or 12 noon. And noon is 中午, 12 p.m. or 12 noon to 1 p.m. Afternoon, 下午, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. And the evening, 晚上, 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. So how would we say 7 in the morning or 7 a.m.? 早上7点钟 or 早上7点. How would we say 7 p.m. or 7 in the evening? 晚上7点. So this is how we would specify the different times of the day. Now just going back to this point, diǎnzhōng is only for time on the hour. So 3点钟 is accurate. But what if we wanted to say something like 3:15 or 3:15? There are also several ways to say this. One of them is 3:1刻 or 3:15. So what does 刻 mean? 刻 is quarter. So 3:1刻 is like saying 3点, 3 points, 1刻, and 1/4. Whereas 分 is the word that we use for minute when we're telling time. Now there's a different word for when we're measuring time, which we'll come on into a moment. But when we're telling time, the word 分 is what we use to refer to minute. So 3点, 3 points, 15分, 15 minutes. And remember that point, we can only use 点 for any time that's not on the hour. We cannot use 点钟. So to say 3:1刻 or 3:15would be incorrect. And now looking at this time here, 3:15, we can also abbreviate it to 3:15. And in fact, it's very common to say it this way. So, several ways to say 3:15. How about 3:45? Well, similarly, we can say 3:3刻. This is 3 points and 3/4. 3:3刻. Or 3:45. 3 points, 45. We can also say 3:45分. How about 3:30? Again, more than one way to say this. We can say 3:30. Now, 半 means half. So 3:30, 3 points, 半, half. Or 3:30, 3 points, and 30. We can also say 3:30分. How about 10 past 3? Well, this is simply 3:10, 3 points, 10, or 3:10分, 3 points and 10 minutes. Now, this is where it gets interesting. If we want to say 5 past 3, notice there's a 0 before the 5, and we actually have to express that 0. 3:05. So anywhere from 1 past the hour to 9 past the hour, we have to express the 0. So if it's 8 minutes past and we want to be really specific, we would say 3:08. Or we can say 3:05分. So both ways are correct. What about if we want to ask the question, what time is it? How do we say that in Chinese? 现在几点钟? Now let's break down this phrase. 现在 means now. 几 means how many, and 点钟 means points on the clock. So 现在几点钟? Now how many points on the clock? That is basically how we ask the time in Chinese. We can also say 现在几点 to mean the same thing. Now note here, 几点 is a question word or a question phrase. What time? 几点? And we can use it in other sentences. For example, what time do you get up? 你几点起床? What time does the meeting start? 聚会几点开始? Now note the difference between the English and Chinese structures. In English, the time phrase is at the beginning of the sentence, what time? In the Chinese, it's in the middle. But if we want to answer this question in English, note what happens to the answer. It goes at the end. So the question word was at the beginning, what time? the answer is at the end, 7:30. But that is not the case with Chinese. We simply replace the question word with the answer, and we don't need to change anything around. 聚会几点开始？聚会7点半开始。So those are some points about telling the time. Now we'll move on to measuring time. And for that, we need some additional vocabulary. Day, 天 hour, 小时 minute, 分钟 second, 秒钟 half, 半 Now let's take a look at some example sentences. The talk is 30 minutes long. 演讲的时间是30分钟 So this is how we say that something is X amount of minutes long. 演讲的时间是30分钟 Now note here, we're using a different word for minute. 分钟 So this is the complete word. So when we were telling time, we could use 分 but it would be incorrect to say 演讲的时间是30分 This would be incorrect. We need to use the complete word 分钟一个30分钟的演讲 Now here we're using 分钟 as an adjective to describe the talk. 30分钟的演讲 So the talk is 30 minutes long. 演讲的时间是30分钟 What if we wanted to say the talk is half an hour long? 演讲的时间是半个小时 So what's happening here? 半 is half. Then the measure word 个 and then hour 小时演讲的时间是半个小时 The talk is half an hour long. We walked for half an hour. 我们走了半个小时 But what if we want to say we walked for 3.5 hours? Well, this is slightly different. 我们走了3个半小时 So we don't say 3半个小时 This is incorrect. We change the order slightly to say 3个半小时 What about we walked for half a day? 我们走了半天 Now notice that we don't say 我们走了半个天 And that is because, as detailed on page 22, unit 13.5, 天 itself is a measure word. So we can't use it with another measure word like 个 or any other measure word. So 我们走了半个天 is incorrect. The correct way is 我们走了半天 We walked for 3.5 days. 我们走了3天半我们走了3天半 So it's different to the way we use hours or minutes. When we use days, this is the order of the sentence. Comments should be 30 seconds or less. 评论应该在30秒之内 So with seconds, we can use 秒 or we can use 秒钟评论应该在30秒钟之内 But more commonly is 30秒 So, this was an introduction to telling time and measuring time. As always, more to come in the following units. See you next time.